Rapidly had gone through the wee bit of cash we had saved when I was working, buying clothes for the girls and other necessities. After I had been fired from the job at Linkbelt, I went to Canadian Immigration as I thought it was my duty to inform them where I was and what I was doing. I told one of the men that I was out of work and asked him what I should do. He took me into the office, asked me to sit down and got out a card file box and started to go through it. Keep in mind that this was long before computers came on the scene. He had asked me what kind of work I was looking for. I told him that I was a machine fitter. His reply was that there weren't any openings in that field and was there anything else I could do. I have a wife and 2 children to care for and will take anything to earn some money. He pulled a card out of the box and asked me, "Do you have a driving license?" I replied I had a British one. "Let me see now," he said while reading the card. "Yes, you are white." They sounded just like the more racist in these days. "You speak English and have a British education. Yes, you will be all right for this job. Have you ever thought of being a salesman?" I said no, but I'm willing to give it a go if there is a job for me. The address given to me was for a Wonder Bread depot. I can't remember the street address, but it was somewhere near Woodbine Racetrack. When I found the place, I was offered a job driving a baker's van around Markham, selling bread and cakes door to door. The rate of pay was $1 an hour, and I had to work 6 days, 60 hours per week. The year was 1965, but it could just as well have been 1925. Things were looking worse instead of better. Anyway, I took the job. Better to be earning something than nothing at all. I had 1 day's instruction about the Wonder Bread job, and the best bit of advice I got from the guy who was showing me the ropes was, "Whatever you do, don't screw the customers." My reply was that I didn't believe in doing anyone out of money. When I say don't screw the customers, I mean don't go to bed with any one of them. You will get invited, but don't do it. I thought he was kidding. He wasn't. I had offers from females, even as young as 16. Obviously, I hadn't learned North American jargon yet. There were many expressions that were new to us, and also some that had entirely different meanings. Back home in Britain, screw meant steal from. Knock you up meant to rap on your door to give you an early call in the morning to get you out of bed, and you would never ask a female to go for a ride in your car. Instead, you would offer her a lift. A ride meant having sex. Another example, shortly before we arrived in Canada, Mary and I were at a dance in Toronto. A group of us were standing and chatting at the edge of the dance floor when I announced that I was going to the bar for a drink. When I returned, a young, good-looking woman put her arm through mine, and I understood her to say, "I like the way you roll your arse." What we call arse is referred to as ass, or rear end in North America. I hesitated a little and looked down at one buttock, then at the other, wondering what it was I did with my arse that got her attention. It wasn't until I thoroughly thought about it that I realised that she was saying she liked the way I rolled my R's. I guess she enjoyed the Scottish accent. Boy, what a relief.